Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at some introductory pressure conversions. So what we're going to be doing is converting from one pressure unit to another, and you can see a list of them out here. Now, because this is an introductory thing, I will give you these values. So I'll go ahead and tell you that, because the thing I'm most interested in right now is not you memorizing these values, because with the proliferation of smartphones, you can pretty much always look these up. So if you know how to convert between them, you're going to be in good shape. Heck, even that you can do on smartphones even now. But there will be times that come up in chemistry where you will need to do this the old-fashioned way, and it is a skill that can definitely help you out throughout college. So let's learn to do some introductory conversions. So let's say, just as a problem, and I'll call this problem 1, find the equivalent of 2 atmospheres of pressure in millimeters of mercury. So what I have to do is I have to convert that 2 atmospheres into a number with units of millimeters of mercury. Now here's how we're going to do this. First thing you do, always first thing you do, is you go through the problem and you find what value they've given you. So in this case, they give you 2 atmospheres. So I'm going to come down just below this, and I'm going to write 2 atmospheres. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a series of multiplication problems where once I do all the multiplying, I will end up with the correct answer. And I'm going to be multiplying by fractions. That's right, I said the F word, fractions. And it's not as scary as it looks. You've just got to change your mind about what a fraction is. Don't think of it as this complex thing where it's a part of a whole or anything like that. It's just a division problem. So now, let's figure out how to set this up. What this is, in case you're wondering why I drew some weird looking thing on here, this is a set of parentheses and the bar for a fraction. So the top part, the numerator will go up here and the denominator will go down here. Notice that the given from the problem was written as if it's part of the numerator. So it's written on top and it's got nothing underneath it, just this part on top. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in numbers here and here so that when I multiply all this out, I end up with millimeters of mercury. Now, let's start with the units. I have units of atmosphere here and I want to get rid of those. So you can think of this as taking 1 times units of atmosphere. And so what I want to do is actually divide by units of atmosphere. And so what this will do is, since when we divide units, they divide just like anything else, atmosphere divided by atmospheres will cancel out. So those will actually go away. So now I've made my atmospheres disappear. And what I want to replace them with are millimeters of mercury. And so I put millimeters of mercury up top. So now when I multiply this out, atmospheres cancel and I'm left with millimeters of mercury. Now I need some numbers to plug into that. That comes from our conversion factors up here. And we know that 1 atmosphere is equal to 760 millimeters of mercury. So now I've set up this complete problem, and when I solve it, this is just a multiplication problem, I'll be left with the proper units. So now, atmospheres cancel out, and so the only unit I'm left with is millimeters of mercury. So I will have changed this. Now I have to figure out how to deal with this number, and there are a couple ways we can go about this. One way to go about this is to simply save all the division for the end. So take everything in the numerator and multiply all those together. So here I've got 2 times 760. So I can put that in. Not trusting my mental math today. 1520 divided by, and now I multiply everything across the bottom, which will be 1. 1520 divided by 1, please tell me you don't need a calculator for that one, is going to be 1,520 millimeters of mercury. So you might be really, really confused after all that. Let's run through real quick what we did. We took our given value, 2 atmospheres. We took whatever the unit was, and we put that in the bottom of a fraction, and then whatever the unit we wanted to turn it into goes up at the top. To find our numbers that go in here, we use the numbers from our conversion factors. 1 atmosphere is equal to 760 millimeters of mercury, and then we multiply all this out. And we're left with 1,520 millimeters of mercury. Something tells me you probably want to see another one. So let's take a look at it. For the second problem, let's convert a really random number so that we get something really hard to deal with. Let's convert 500 psi, that's pounds per square inch, and we're going to convert this to kilopascals. So again, we go through the problem, we find what it is we're looking for. We are looking for 500, excuse me, let me try that again. What we're given 500 psi, so that's where we start. 500 psi. We're going to make a fraction to multiply this by. Our units were psi here, so we need psi in the bottom. And then what we want to change it into on top, kilopascals. Now I go up to the top and I find my conversion factors. So 14.696 psi is equal to 101.325 kilopascals. And now I'm ready to multiply. Anything in the top and bottom are going to cancel if they're exactly the same. PSI will cancel, and the only units I'm left with are kilopascal. So notice I'm doing sort of the numbers and the units separately on this. And so now I do the number part. And I'm going to multiply everything across the top. So I'm going to take 500 times 101.325. And I end up with 562.5. So 50,662.5 divided by 14.696. Again, we'd multiply everything across the bottom, but there's just one thing here. And now it's just a division problem. And I find that this is equal to 3,447.36 kilopascals. So that is how we do these conversions. I'll give you plenty of practice like this. See me if you need more help. Don't be afraid to ask for help on this. And let me know how it goes.